I'm going to talk to you about annotation. I know that some of you have already gotten started on annotating Trouble with Talent, but I wanted to just go over with you in my video and show you how I annotate so that this better guides you and you can go back and add some more to what you've already done. So I'm sure you already know what annotation means and that you guys have done this in your other classes before. And we're going to do it maybe a little bit differently at the advanced level, but just to explain the basic concept, annotation means taking notes on a text and interacting with the text. So why do we do this? Well, when you actually write on your text or underline, circle, and make notes, it helps you understand what you're reading and it helps you develop your own ideas about the text. So this means annotations become building blocks for longer, more meaningful writing. If you are marking up your text really well, then you're not only going to be more prepared to write an essay about them, but you'll also be prepared to discuss them in class. So one thing that we're doing at the advanced level is looking closely at writing conventions. And I put a PowerPoint describing what writing conventions mean on our class website. And it talks about identifying what the author is doing and how the author is using language to convey his or her meaning. So I'm going to say that again. Writing conventions talks about what the author is doing and how the author is using language to convey his or her meaning. As you guys know, we do not have a textbook in this class, so I would like you to use articles that we read as our textbooks or models of what good writing looks like. This means that you'll be able to mimic the techniques and the structures in your own writing, but you really do have to identify these first. So as you guys go annotating Trouble with Talent, I want you to be looking for these things. Look for the writing conventions and annotating because it's a tool for you to comprehend the text and it serves as the model for you of what good writing looks like so that you can model it in your own writing. So you know your homework is to read the whole article of the Trouble with Talent and add your annotations to one document, and I'm going to flip over to that in just a minute, but I just want to explain what the basic structure of annotation looks like. So on the left side, it can be the left margin, or if you want, you can also use sticky notes, but we usually write on the left side the summary or the main ideas, and I noticed that some of you guys have put just one per paragraph, and I think there are a few more than that. So it's good to be able to summarize the whole paragraph in one sentence, but you should also be including other maybe sub main ideas, right? So you should have a couple of major ideas going on for each paragraph, vocabulary that you don't know as well, and then, as I mentioned before, the writing conventions. And if you're not sure what I'm talking about here, look at the PowerPoint that I included this week on the Moodle. And it talks about what the author's doing in his or her writing, techniques they're using in the introduction, the body paragraphs, also in use of punctuation, use of transition words, all of these things. I want you to look carefully at how the author is manipulating the language, okay? And then on the right side, this is really important. So left side's the main ideas. If you don't have the main ideas of the text, then you can't really formulate any ideas about it, okay? So first, main ideas. Then right side will be your reactions, your opinions and connections to the text, ideas that surprise you, ideas you can relate to, predictions, questions. So this is really more of your own commentary about what you're reading. And this is really important in setting you up for writing your essays and for your discussion as well. Okay, so now here we are on our group doc, and I've included this left side, right side guide. And let me just start with the introduction, and I actually annotated for you the little background information that shows up before she even starts writing her article. So you can find out a lot about a text from its title. So always annotate the title too. So the trouble with talent, are we born smart or do we get smart? I added my annotation here. I'm summarizing it. It's setting up a comparison between two schools of thought. Okay, and I'm thinking that the talent that she's talking about is probably reflecting the idea that we are born smart. So I'm going to analyze this, and remember, all your analysis is going to be on the right side. On the left side, you're just summarizing the main ideas and what you see here. On this side, you're making your inferences, stating your opinions. So I think she is going to agree with this. We get smart, the other school of thought, not the born smart school of thought, the get smart, because she says trouble with talent. And talent is something that you're born with, okay? So I bet, again, my opinion, she is proving in this essay that we get smart. I haven't even read it. These are just these predictions I'm making based on the title. Okay, so then I'm looking here. She's a California-based freelance journalist. Okay, so first of all, that's cool that she is a local. I'm from California too. Cool connection. And she is a journalist. So this is something in research writing that we're going to talk about a little later on. But this shows that she's experienced. She has her credentials shown here. She's a journalist, so I can believe her as an expert on this topic because she's actually a professional, okay? And she's published about children education in magazines, okay? So this also reaffirms to me that she's an expert on children's learning and psychology-based publications. And so just from this very beginning intro text, I've learned about the author. She's an expert, right? And I kind of already know what she's going to argue. And then it talks here about what she's doing in the essay. This is a brief summary. So a lot of the times this will happen in research writing too, that they'll start with a little synopsis before they get into the writing. She examines an attitude that may help to explain why math scores of children have fallen far behind those of American children have fallen far behind those of children in Japan. So now I'm writing a summary in my own words. It's really important that you don't copy, that you put it into your own words. This article is going to discuss why the test scores of American children are lower than Japanese students' test scores, right? And then on the right side, I'm guessing that Asian students have the different attitude than American students because they come from different cultures, okay? This is just my guess. And I think either the American or the Asian students are going to believe in it's going to be get smart or born smart. So I think it's going to be those two schools of thought. Are you following me so far? Okay, so now let's get into paragraph 1. This is where her writing actually starts. Jim Stigler was in an awkward position, fascinated by the fact that Asian students routinely do better than American kids at elementary math. The UCLA psychologist wanted to test whether persistence might be the key factor. So, left side. Jim Stigler, I know he's an expert, and I'm summarizing what he did. He tested to see why Japanese kids are stronger in elementary math. Okay, sorry, why I didn't explain why he's an expert. He's an expert because he is the UCLA psychologist, right? So maybe I want to highlight that too. That just shows that he can be relied on, and he's a credible source. So he wanted to test them, and he thinks that persistence is a key factor. This is a main point, okay? So persistence is the difference between Japanese and American kids. That is what he is testing. Do you guys know what persistence means? Persistence means the ability to work on and on, or to continue with something until it's completed. Okay, and there are some words I don't know. Elementary, what does that mean? That means, I looked it up, it's kindergarten through 5th grade, so 5 to 10-year-old students. Routinely, I don't know what that means. That's a good word. It means it happens often or typically. Okay, so it's happening very often that Asian students are outperforming American kids. Okay, so you see that I'm kind of summarizing these ideas, and you don't need to have it in so many sentences here. And on the right side, I wrote awkward here. Awkward is a strong word. Why was it awkward? So this is a hook, right? She's using this strong, kind of strange word, and that pulls you in. And so I'm curious as to why it was awkward, and I'm hooked. And this is actually a writing technique, so this should go on the left side. Sorry about that, guys. Okay, so anywho, so he designed and administered an experiment in which he gave the same insolvable math problem to separate small groups of Japanese and American children. So here I summarize, he gave the children a test that had no answer. That's what insolvable means, no answer. And I guess he's going to determine why it is that the Japanese students do better than American. So I'm going to change some of my questions here. Why are Asian students stronger in math? What were the results of his experiment? Okay, so it's interesting that she starts with this anecdote or this little story. This is definitely a writing technique, and remember, I want you guys to be looking out for those. It's a way to get your reader interested in what you're saying. You can use stories, you can use questions, you can use quotes, and there's more on the PowerPoint. Okay, so as you can see, just with this little paragraph here, I've got lots and lots of notes, and I'm starting to kind of unravel it and understand it and start forming some of my own questions and predictions. Okay, just one last point. I wanted to leave you with an example of a personal connection. This isn't great, but remember, on the right side, you want to relate and connect to the writing. So I wrote, I can relate. I was not good at math as a kid. I felt it wasn't my strength or talent. So I wonder what he will find out. Was I wrong in my thinking? Okay, so this is just kind of getting my wheels turning. On the right side, you're just kind of developing your own ideas about what you're reading. And this is really, really important in setting you up for your writing later on. Okay, thanks for listening, and if you have any questions, feel free to email me or post to the discussion forum about it.